on here. On behalf of the Villages of Homestead, the Audubon Board, Larry Minnow, our Clubhouse manager, I'd like to welcome you to this particular forum, which is for seat number 6, the Oasis seat. And I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Clemente Cannavale. Did I say it right?
Yes.
And Ms. Brandy Ramirez. I want to make sure that you understand that this is a labor of love. We work so hard on our committee. I thank you so much. Dennis, Doc, Evelyn, Ted is our moderator. My husband will be here in a minute to take some pictures. I'm trying to fill in for him as a still photographer. I'm not doing a very good job. But I also want to thank Olive Garden for sponsoring this, as they have provided us with food, which is next door in our other portion of our clubhouse. So with that being said, I think it's time for us to get started.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to give each of you a 2-minute introduction to tell us why you're running, what's your platform and vision, and what do you think makes you more qualified than your opponents? I'm going to try to alternate the questions. I'll let you know ahead of time how much time you have. Most of the questions you'll have a minute and a half, but a couple are 2-tiered, so we'll give you a little bit more time.
I was talking about the time.
Okay.
So when Ted tells you 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, I'm going to give you a warning at 60 minutes or 60 seconds. I'm going to go like this, and then, no, not 30 seconds rather, I'm sorry, 30, and then when you're done, just to let you know the time is right now.
And then if it's a question in which I'd like to hear you rebut each other, you'll get 30 seconds for your rebuttals, and she'll give you a 15-second heads up on that. So with that being said, I'll flip a coin. Ms. Ramirez, you go first with your opening statement. Oh, and then at the end, your closing statements will be reversed. Mr. Cannavale, you'll go first on that. Okay?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brandy Ramirez. I am born and raised here at Homestead Air Force Base. I have served the Homestead community for 28 years in volunteering service. I am a true advocate for our community, and this is the reason why I'm running, to have an opportunity to actually serve our community at the level of City Council and be the voice of the residents. Would you also like me to go with the second part of the question?
Yes.
Can you repeat that question for me?
Yes, ma'am. What is your platform and vision, and what makes you feel that you're more qualified than your opponents?
My platform is going to be the voice for the residents, putting residents first at Homestead. I'm definitely going to be supporting our military, our police department, and first responders. I have definitely served with all of them in volunteer work, even during the pandemic. My priorities are going to be controlling the overdevelopment that is happening now. And one of our major issues that we have going on in Homestead is the traffic issues. And I, as a resident of Homestead, am driving in that currently right now, so I feel the heart of our Homestead residents. I also want to ensure that I have the experience and qualifications when it comes to oversight of the budget. So that's going to be one of my main to review and control the budgeting and improve the process of permitting for our residents and businesses that would like to be welcomed to Homestead. So those are my commitments. I do have education on there as well, as being part of the Education Committee of Homestead for many years. I want to ensure that the schools, parents, and the students have communication from the city. What sets me apart from the opponents is going to be that I am running independent. You can see my treasury reports. I am not receiving not $1 from any developer, PAC, a special interest, or PACs. That's the difference between me and my opponents. And the other difference is that I am a longtime Homestead resident. I have served this community many years, compared to the opponents that barely moved to Homestead. So I just want to share that with Homestead. I am Homestead.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell.
Yes. My name is Clemente Canaval. I'm a retired medical doctor that lives here in Homestead with my wife and my sons. And I wanted to get involved more in the well-being and the better development of this community. I saw some problems when I got here. That was, as Randy mentioned, the traffic, the overdevelopment. And I want my kids and my wife and my family to grow and live in a community that I will respect and love. And that's the reason for why I am running.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Campbell, I'll ask you the first question. Would you support a building moratorium of residential housing? And how long should that moratorium be, if you agree with that? And how will you plan to improve the city's infrastructure based upon the current overcrowding or the concept of overcrowding that we have now?
I will support a moratorium on the residential part. Yeah. I will support that. I think there's overdeveloping, and I would support also accelerating the permits and giving the permits for the commercial part of the infrastructure of the city. I will support that. And what was the other question?
How would you plan to improve the city's infrastructure to deal with the current overpopulation that we have in the city?
Well, with the moratorium of the houses, of the apartments, of the townhouses, we have to stop that a little bit, at least for 2 years, and to catch up with all the streets and the signaling and the sensors and everything that we need to put on, so we can increase the flow of traffic in this town.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Merv, would you like to rebut anything he said? 30 seconds.
I don't think the question was answered for the infrastructure part. I heard that he said yes to it. So I don't have any rebuttal at this time.
Okay. Would you like to follow up with the infrastructure? Okay. You both mentioned traffic.
And I'm sorry, when you say rebuttal, am I able to say what I would do to the same question, or?
It was the same question.
Okay, so I didn't get my 2 or 3 minutes to answer. That
Oh,
was just rebuttal.
Oh, I started with him. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's been a long day.
Will you support a moratorium on residential housing? If not, how would that moratorium be in place? And how will you plan to improve the city's current infrastructure to deal with the amount of homes and lacking infrastructure that we have now?
Thank you for the question. My answer is yes, I definitely would support one. I've actually been talking with the employees of City of Homestead, getting the good ideas from them on what they have been informing the current mayor and council. It's good to get information from the staff who knows best what's out there and what's happening. They've shared a lot of insight, and to my understanding, mayor and council are aware of it. No changes have been done yet. So definitely I do support it. I believe we can do a temporary residential between 2 to 3 years. And also, I've been hearing from the residents on their suggestions, what they want to see happen, the changes that affect our everyday livelihood and what's affecting our traffic. I have the experience with long-time relationships in the county, in the state, and local governments, so I look forward to working together with them, with our city leaders who I have a long-time relationship with, and making the change that can actually happen with improving our signal lights and the traffic flow that will help all our residents.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Campbell, would you like to rebut?
No.
Okay. Would you like to rebut anything he said? All right, we'll move on.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
It's
So
okay.
you both mentioned traffic. So many in our community complain about the traffic all around the city. How much do you think overdevelopment has contributed to that problem? How could you mitigate and improve the current traffic situation, knowing that many of our roads are not under our control, they're actually under the control of the state and county? So what can be done with them to improve traffic and traffic patterns? And now the first will be Brandy this time.
Thank you for the opportunity. I definitely believe it does play a role, about an 80% role into what's going on now. I want to say the other 20% has to do with our city council. I have gone to city meetings for many, many years, and I keep hearing the blame go to the county. It's because the county owns the roads. It's because the county owns the traffic. And being somebody from the county, I just like to say, it's not hard for you to communicate on a monthly basis, a weekly basis if it's required, to communicate back and forth with the county and other leadership to make the change that we need happen. There's a traffic light, there's all over the place in Keekman Road, different streets that have been there for 2 years and the light switch has not been flipped on. That's unacceptable. So those are things that when I come in as councilwoman, we will see the actual actions happening of what we need, the changes that we need. So definitely I am ready to work with those departments, and we're not going to let them just keep giving us excuses or any other reasons. I don't think they are. I just think that we need to push a little bit more and follow up and make sure that these things are going to happen for our residents.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Canova?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. I think Randy is right. There's some things that we can fix here in the city. But we also have traffic from Florida City, from Cotter Bay that passes by here, that stays over here. And then we need to talk with the county commissioners and itself officials and demand, okay, for the things that needs to be done over here, that they're supposed to be done by them. We have to demand for those things to happen. And I'm going to concentrate my time on that a lot. Okay, trying to get that part of the state to help us fix the streets over here. Not only the streets, we need lights, we need sensors, we need signaling, we need a lot of things so the flow of traffic will increase. And it has to be smart sensors, depending on the traffic, which way is more heavy at that moment or not. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any rebut to that?
Yes, I do have a question. Which commissioners would you be working with?
The commissioner here in Homestead.
And who is that?
What's his name? Oh my God, I forgot the name.
It's okay, no problem. I definitely agree with Mr. Canabo that working with the county commissioners, that would be with Keone McGee and also Commissioner Danielle Cohen-Higgins. I have very long time working relationships with them. I have volunteered with them in the city of Homestead, and our priority is the city, not Florida City or not Thunder Bay. Even though I do have working relationships with those current city mayors, so I definitely look forward to working with them if need be. But my priority is going to be with Homestead and working together with our county commissioners.
Okay, Mr. Canova?
No, I am.
Okay, thank you. Homestead ranks among Florida's most dangerous cities, blamed mostly on elevated rates of property and violent crimes. What do you believe is contributing to this, and what steps might be taken to reduce crime? Ms. Campbell.
Okay, what is the Homestead? Is what the second? What?
Second worst in the state as the most dangerous city.
I don't know what criteria they use to determine that.
Numerous studies that I looked up.
Okay.
From the FBI,
I
from
don't
the state.
know. You know, what I will do is promote law enforcement, promote the creation of more the city police. That I will be very focused on that because that's very important. Security for me is the most important thing. So that right away. I will start working on how to get more cops working here in the city.
Okay. Ms. Ramirez, same question.
I am very honored and proud to have worked with with Miami-Dade Police Department and also with the City of Homestead Police Department. I have long-standing relationships with the chiefs and the captains of both departments. I have the experience in looking and seeing what's happening in our city, what type of calls are more coming into the city. And so I've been talking to the residents every day as I knock on doors to find out from them what do they see happening in their city, even if they're behind gated communities. They're feeling left out because they're in a gated community. And we have little areas like the Northwest area, Southwest section that definitely have some things going on that we can improve. And I'm happy to say that I've been volunteering with our community policing unit of City of Homestead to make sure that we're reaching out to our residents so they can know that Homestead Police is here for them, not to be afraid to talk with them, have a conversation. And so for many years, I've been connecting that gap, assuring them that they're not going to feel nervous or feel afraid to call City of Homestead for help. So, you know, the statistics are there. Those are facts. What we need to do is focus on what the residents are feeling that they need inside their different districts. I know that I will be representing District 6 of the Oasis, and we may not have as much crime on our end, you know, based on the other west side of the city, but I can guarantee you that we look forward to continuing my working relationship with Homestead, and we will make the changes that the residents feel that they need.
Okay, now before I allow rebuttals,
Yes.
let me ask you both real quick. What more could we possibly, how could we more involve Miami-Dade Police Department, which is of course much better, not better, bigger than we are. They have more money. Because in order for us, every police officer we bring in is about $180,000 a year. Estimates are already 50 to 75 more police officers. That's a lot of money. So the question is, where would that money come from? And what could we use, possibly resources or connection, or how could we involve Miami-Dade Police into taking over some of our more serious crimes so that we can deal with things like the kids on their bikes and circling in the middle of intersections and four-wheelers going down Palm Drive, popping wheelies and things like that. And you know, the petty crimes that go on. Mr. Councilwoman.
Well, that question is very difficult to answer because we need to find out whether the state police is going to be able to help us. We need to find out. That's the first thing we need to do. Second of all, I think those four wheels and those type of crimes should be handled by our local police. We should be more involved in that, and we can train them for that. I think there's training for that, and more cameras.
Cameras?
Yeah.
Like cameras are in London? Is that what you're talking about?
What?
Talking about cameras mounted on light poles and,
Well, we have to discuss that because that's part of security.
I mean, candles, okay. Let me make sure I'm clear. Are you talking about stoplight cameras or cameras placed on the street overseeing high crime areas?
I think so. That would be a good idea.
Okay. Ms. Ramirez.
You know, when you are new to Homestead, it will be a difficult question for you. But when you're born and raised in Homestead, I can definitely tell you that I have a working relationship with the Hispanic Police Officers Association who are supporting me. And Miami-Dade would welcome, if that's what Homestead needs, they would definitely support the City of Homestead. Now, is City of Homestead officers capable and able? They are. I have full confidence in Homestead Police Department. I want to make that very clear. I would tell you what's important for us would be working with our officers, continue now the new community policing. We are now implementing spot checks all over the city. There's a few more areas that we need to implement those. And those are making sure that 911 receives a call the minute it happens. Okay, that's really good for our city. Actually, for our city wants to find out how Homestead PD is doing that, and they're getting ready to implement that in Florida City. So Homestead Police Department is a prime example to the surrounding municipalities around us. But there's always room for improvement. And I don't think there's anything wrong in working together with Miami-Dade Police Department, I know that they would be welcome to it. So I look forward to connecting them, having those relationships with, Mr. Freddie Ramirez for many long time, with the chief, Al Rowe, the chief of Homestead Police as well. When you have those long-time relationships, you can bring that to the city of Homestead.
Okay. Do you have any kind of rebuttal to Mr. Cannaval's comment about cameras?
I do. I want a clarification on what type of cameras did he mean. Did he mean body cams? Is he for body cams? Does he mean
No,
traffic
I am
cameras?
for body cams. I am also for street cameras.
Street cameras. So it was street cameras that you
Yeah.
were referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you think the street cameras would do?
They can catch a lot of things, accidents that happen. It depends on the situation.
Oh.
But we are going to be able to monitor more closely anything where that happens, how it is.
Well, we do currently have street cameras in some of the city, lights in the city. But I believe the question is for the crime level, for residents. I think you meant neighborhoods, am I correct?
For instance, Times Square, New York, there's cameras all over the place, showing everything that's going on within that area all the time. And there's police officers or people that work for the police department that are monitoring those cameras all the time. We're not even allowed to use down here our stoplight cameras because whoever came in, ACLU or whatever, got that stopped. How do you think you're going to be able to convince the city and any litigation that might come forward about invading people's privacy because you've got cameras hanging up in front of businesses and along streets like that?
Well, we have to vote to make a vote in city council for that. And I'm going to try to bring it up because there's a very fine line between invading privacy and maintaining the order in a city. And we have to level that.
Okay, and you more or less agree, or do you have a comment?
I do have a comment. I do have experience in writing grants. So there is funding out there for us to be able to get grant funded through the state and through other organizations that do grant funding for city that may help in supporting the police department and getting the additional, if the city of police department feel that they need the cameras, then I will support it. But if Homestead is doing a great job, which I do believe that they are, I think there's just a few little things that the residents do want to see some changes in. And we need to be the voice for those changes. We need to allow the residents to be heard and ask for what they want to see in the city and work together with their police officers.
Okay, that walks right into another question concerning citizen involvement. Recently, the Planning and Zone Committee, which was run by citizens of Homestead, was abolished or terminated. I believe it was in December of 22.
The what?
We had a Planning and Zoning Commission, a Planning and Zoning Board that was made up of civilians, non-government employees, that recommended to the council and the city every new plan or new zoning request that came up, ran through them first and then it went to the city. That was taken away. So in light of that, what would you do in order to involve citizens more intimately with the day-to-day and the overall management of the city?
The city by itself, or you're talking about the council?
Pardon?
The city, the city
Community,
hall?
people within the community that work hand in hand or contributing to the city's government and how it runs.
Okay. This is what I think, okay? I've been walking door to door, talking to a lot of citizens. And more or less, they all always express the same concerns. I have given my phone number. information so they can contact me in case they want to talk with us or the city council. But those are going to be always open for them. So they have all the concerns, they can bring it directly to us.
Maybe you didn't really understand the question. That's all fine and good, and it's great that they would contact you directly. However, how would you improve citizen involvement in the way the city does its business? The way the city runs itself. Like, for example, the Planning and Zoning Board contributed to decisions that were made about planning and zoning. Now that that's gone, there's virtually no citizen input that is recognized as recognized committees from the city. Would you try to reinstitute something like that, where city citizens have a formal place that they can go to in order to work with the city
I
to improve things?
I think that organization, the way you're describing it, was an asset for the city. I don't know why they took it off. I would believe me, I would advocate for that to be reinstated, because the input of the citizens is the most important asset that we can have over here. And the only reason that I run is so we can listen only to the citizens, because the concerns of the citizens are the reasons that we are serving the community. We are servers, that's what we are. So of course.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ramirez?
I'm a proud planning and zoning member of the board. And while I was on there, I voted plenty of times against different projects that came in areas where the residents did not want to see. So the experience of planning and zoning board is very essential. And I do plan to bring that back. I believe it is essential for us as council people to review their notes, review the minutes of what they were able to have a conversation and talk about. And that helps us prepare ourselves when it comes time to be presented to us in a city council meeting. I definitely want to look at the notes when residents are talking and showing up what they're against. So I strongly feel that planning and zoning needs to be implemented. That's my plan, to bring it back. And all other committees, I went to a city meeting where they said there's no one wanting to volunteer to be on planning and zoning, no one wanting to volunteer on education committee. I find that absurd. We have tons of amazing community members in Homestead that do want to volunteer and give their expertise. And I was one of those persons on the planning and zoning, and we worked together to ask questions, ask very important questions, so that our mayor and council can be prepared. So I definitely will be implementing that and other committees back.
Okay, thank you. You also mentioned, both of you, some ideas that would require funding. So, let's say, for example, you received a $1 million grant to use for the city in any way that you wanted. What would you do with it and why?
Me?
Yes. Well, no, we'll start with Brandon this time.
Okay, so you said it would be a $1 million.
Let's say a $1 million grant from whoever that the city can use any way it wants, as long as it's for city business. What would you do with it? Or your priorities for it?
I would have to say there would be several priorities. We would have to split those. I think I would do a committee of residents to discuss this $1 million grant, so the residents have input in what those decisions will be. But some of my suggestions for them to review would be the fire department, police department, our local military families, and the schools. It's very important for us to make sure that the support is there for our citizens and our businesses. Let's continue those little mini grants for our businesses that will bring employment and jobs for our residents local here. And also, I believe it's overdue for some incentives for our employees that have been working in the city of Homestead and the different departments for a very long time. So definitely would like to create a committee to review this, to make the decisions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Cameron?
Well, according to what you told us, that the city of Homestead was the second most dangerous city in South Florida. I will give that money to the police. All of it.
Would you like oversight on that? Like make sure that they spend the money that is most beneficial to the city and not necessarily baubles that they might want to have? Like they might want to buy a piece of equipment
Whatever.
that the county already has and that we would use, say, in a hostage situation. So,
Everything about every department over here is about money. The more money you throw into it, and if it's used correctly, the better. So I think the police at this moment would be a good place to drop that $1 million.
okay. Ms. Merz, we have any kind of rebuttal to that, or?
I'm trying to think how I'm going to ask the question, because he mentioned throw money into it. The first thing that comes to my mind is the amount of money that's in the campaign report for yourself. So if someone throws money into it, is there like a promise owed to it?
There's no promise at all. The people that are giving me money is because they trust me and they believe in me. That's why.
Okay, did you have would you like to rebut what she said, or you just did that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Downtown. Do you think our Main Street downtown is healthy and successful? And if not, what steps or what do you think could be done to improve Main Street? And we'll start with you this time, Mr. Campbell.
Okay, everything can be improved. Okay, but the most important thing, and this is what I believe. Let's try to be authentic. Let's try to be Homestead. Not try to convert ourselves into another city. Try to maintain our roots and our beauty, because we're a beautiful city. And yes, it can be really revitalized a lot with more influence of commerce, of restaurants, things like that. Yes, I think so.
Okay. Ms. Ramirez,
Can you repeat the question again?
do you believe that Main Street downtown is healthy and successful? And how would you improve Main Street from where it's at today?
I don't believe it's being maintained or successful. I believe we have let them down, the businesses on Main Street. I think we do need to do better as mayor and council, and to support those local businesses there on Main Street, Home Avenue. I have been listening to friends of mine, business owners, that are now sold their properties and have moved out. And it made me very sad to hear that. They didn't receive any grant funding, or they didn't even know there was applications to apply for. So we need to do better, and not just telling certain people that there's grant funding or applications. We need to open it up and be better at advertising. If you look at the City of Homestead social media pages and advertisement pages, they put things 1 to 2 days prior. That doesn't give ample time. So we need to support our downtown area. There's definitely different ideas, and I would like to have a committee of residents from Homestead, the downtown area, be part of that, so they can be part of making some recommendations. I strongly feel that as City Council, we have to hear our residents more and work together.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cameron, do you have
No, I agree with you.
agreement? Okay. Employment. This question is about employment. I'll give you both 2 minutes on this one. Employment opportunities in Homestead are few and are often paid lower wages than jobs that you might find in Miami or nearer to Miami. Homestead residents have been promised local high-paying industrial tech jobs for a decade and a half, with little to no positive impact on the number of quality jobs that have come into Homestead. What do you think could be done to finally bring high-paying jobs to Homestead? But secondary to that, or maybe you want to answer this first, do you think that is a worthy pursuit any longer, to chase after high-paying jobs that come down?
What was that? The last part?
Do you think it is worth the effort to try and bring more high-paying jobs to Homestead after 15 years of failure?
Well, every effort for Homestead is going to be the best thing that we can do.
Every what?
Every effort,
Every effort, okay.
yeah, the best thing that we can do. But yes, at the beginning of the forum, we talked about the moratorium of residencies and trying to push the commercial aspect of the development. I think we can do that, and that will bring more jobs into Homestead. And a lot of high-paying jobs also, if we make the right moves. And I think we should be doing that.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Maris?
Thank you for the question. It definitely is a worthy pursuit for us to continue. While I was on planning and zoning, there's many projects like the Amazon building that we were a part of approving, asking questions to them. How many jobs would this create? Would they only hire local from our Homestead area for these type of businesses when we were there thinking if we were going to approve this? And which we did. And it's sad to say that the building is still there empty. It's not employed. It hasn't created any jobs. So we need to know why. We need to have the experience and know why that is happening and what steps we need to do. Is it permitting? Is it holding it up? What is going on? So that question has a lot of different connections to it. And as Councilwoman, I will definitely make sure I am involved, I have a team involved, making sure if there's any lack of support to these businesses that are here, but we definitely need to continue pursuing it. I am already in talks with different, companies that want to come to Homestead, but they've expressed the difficult, hoops that they have to jump. And we need to change that. So those are changes that I plan to make, work together, and we will definitely make it happen here at Homestead.
Okay, along that line, permitting is constantly cited as an issue for new companies to come in here and also for existing businesses to do improvements. I know of one business in particular, basically just expanded their dining room, and it took almost 2 years to get all the permitting done, to finally sign up. I myself have had my home, a new door put in, and I've been waiting on final permitting since February. So what could be done to correct that issue? I know I've heard that part of the problem is because now we contract that out. That used to be in-house. Is that correct, Larry? Yeah. So what could we do to improve that process, which would help to accelerate businesses being able to locate here? You.
Well, the first thing that I will do is set a meeting with the city manager and the employees and find out the reasons of what is happening. And set up the things straight in city manager, because this cannot happen. Everything has to be, if we're gonna improve our commercial view of everything, we have to be friendly with the people that brings that business over here. We better make sure that we are starting with the right foot of that, so we're able to promote the development of commercial sites, and that people that own the commercial sites are happy. So I think that's my point of view on that, and I'm going to be very, very aggressive on that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maris?
Can I get a clarification?
Yes.
Reference, you mentioned working together with the employees and the city manager?
No, having a meeting with them,
With the employees and the city
with
manager?
the city manager.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. My ideas for making this better is because I know that it's possible. I have seen it happen every single time when I make a phone call and I reach out when a business owner is having difficulty or a resident is having difficulty with the permitting department. It shouldn't be where you make phone calls to council and stuff and you let them know what's going on and then all of a sudden things are moving rapidly. Everyone across the board has to be treated fairly in a timely manner, and I know that it's possible, it's happened. I've been in very multiple circumstances, and I do the emails to the different directors in the planning and zoning, and they will work with you. You know, you ask the questions, you provide the information of the addresses, and you're able to do that. But as city council, we can review the regulations. We can review what the current policies are and streamline the permitting process. It's a must that has to happen, that will open multiple doors to businesses, assist residents with current issues like you mentioned that are happening, and that will help bring the jobs along the line for Homestead.
Okay. Along those lines, continuing with improving city services or city, making it more business friendly. Hang on. I didn't write this question down, so I'm done. We used to have in-house building department. And that has since been, I'm not sure when, I think it had to do with COVID. It was contracted out, and it remains contracted out. Do you believe that we should bring that back in-house, and how do you think that would improve our current situation as far as accelerating permitting and bringing businesses into the community? And Brandy, you go first.
Thank you. Definitely, I do not like to hear that we're contracting out. And the reason why is when you contract out, you cannot guarantee that those employees are residents of Homestead that are getting employed in our own city. A prime example, I was at a City of Homestead meeting where we were having all these power outages and we had concerns and questions and we asked them. Just to find out that the city manager mentioned that no one's applying for these jobs. That was kind of strange. He mentioned that they were going to fly in somebody from New York to come and apply for a job at the power. You know, contracting out is not doing anybody good for the city of Homestead. It's not bringing jobs that our residents do want and want to apply for. So the in-house building department, we need to bring it back. We also need to open up the customer service. Why is it that resident can only call and ask questions over the phone when we have a great city hall that can have an open window? I've seen it there, it's just not being utilized. And let's open it back up to our city of Homestead residents to be able to ask their questions and have a person helping them. There's a glass door, so there's still safety precautions if need be, but it's time that we get our city back for our residents, and it's time to serve the Homestead residents the processes that they need to be aware of and have the open door for them.
Okay, thank you. Clemente, what's
Well, I don't know why they contracted this other company to do that, but I will bring it back in the
Okay, thank you. Final question. Would you support amending the city charter to mandate that council seats are voted by the residents of that particular district only? Meaning they could vote citywide for mayor, but for the council seats, for instance, Oasis, only Oasis, people that live in seat 6 area would vote for the seat 6 seat.
I will support that. I will support that, yes. We have to be very careful. That will bring the grassroots campaigns to have a better opportunity of winning. But we have to be careful also with the drawing of the district lines and stuff like that. But I will support that, yes.
Okay. Ms. Ramirez.
I definitely would like to support that, and if we can vote on that, it would be amazing for multiple reasons. We will then take out the special interest money that tries to flow into the city of Homestead and try to take control of our city. That'll exit that out, and it will definitely open the doors to residents who care for our community to run for office and not have to struggle, reference the campaigning financial portion of it against this, money of special interest. So I definitely would support that 100%.
Okay. That's all I have now. Anyone else got anything? So, you went first on the opening, correct?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Clemente, can you wrap up in a minute or so your closing argument for yourself, and also let us know how people can contribute to your campaign or find information about the campaign, and find information about the campaign.
Hey, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for bringing me over here. And all I want to do is make Homestead a better place where we can live, work, and play. And that the security of our families is always going to be my top priority. And you can contact me at clementecanaval@aol.com or clementecanaval@gmail.com. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Maris.
I would like to say that only the Homestead residents can define our future of City of Homestead. So I ask you to please vote for me, Brandy Ramirez, a true advocate for the community over 28 years, serving you then, served you during the pandemic, and will serve you for your best interests, not the interest of the developers or PACs that are trying to steal Homestead. I ask you to take the time to review all of the candidates' treasury reports, all of ours. It's going to tell you what the facts are there. It would help you make the right choice for Homestead. And I just want to say thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come together here and to share with you a little bit about us. And my phone number is 305-965-5315. It's been the same number for 20 plus years. You know that you can count on me, and I look forward to serving you and making this a better Homestead for all of us.
Do you have a social presence for people to look at your platform and also contribute to your campaign?
Definitely. I do have Vote for Brandy. It's on Instagram, and it also says that for our Facebook page. And on both of those, it also has the link that you would be able to contribute to our grassroots campaign.
Okay. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ted, and our committee. I don't know if you realize how many hours and hours that we've spent working on this. This is a great benefit to you. As former councilwoman and vice mayor for almost 15 years, I can tell you that it is not easy getting your face out there and letting people know what you stand for. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Ms. Mitchell did RSVP, but she was going to be out of town, so she did have the courtesy to respond, and I want to give her that credit. Again, I want to thank Olive Garden, because I've been forgetting to thank them for sponsoring the event. And also, I did not hear from Mr. Galman. I did not hear from him at all, so I don't know. But these fine people here will have a primary. So you've heard some people earlier on some of our other videos that only have a general election, but they will have a primary, and all 4 names will be on the ballot. I beg you to vote, because I'm telling you, you may think that your vote will not matter one way or the other. It matters. Every vote matters. So that being said, I want to thank you both for coming today, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.